great viewfinder, 4K 60 frames, 4K 24, 10-bit. Like, this is pretty awesome. This is starting to sound a lot like the camera that I want to be using this next year. Hey friend, good morning. Today, I can already tell I'm definitely gonna have to earn that red X on the calendar today. It's just one of those days, and I'm facing more resistance than I kind of expected to be facing on only the 4th of January. So over here on the calendar, it's only the 4th, but today's just been one of those days where I'm just like, facing a lot of mental clutter and distraction. And I definitely don't feel like I'm performing on my top level, but I'm gonna feel grateful to push through today and still accomplish tasks and just not let it just dissolve into like nothing. So I've got a bunch of emails that I need to respond to. That's part of why my brain's cluttered, because I am just like writing the emails in my head and it's not allowing me to like do my events properly. But after those emails, I'm gonna talk about a new camera that was released today. One that I'm really excited about. It wasn't released, but it was announced. I'm gonna talk about the Panasonic Gh5 in a bit. And for now, I'm just gonna punch through some of this work that is gonna be mentally challenging, but worth it. Okay, so one of the things I wanted to talk about today, something that I'm really excited about, is the new announcements around the Gh5. So Panasonic actually had a really big day today. They released a ton of new videos, one filmed by Luke Newman, a filmmaker that I've been following for years. And I'm really excited about some of the features in this new camera. I wanted to talk to you about it because I think it's going to be the best adventure doc filming camera for the type of work that I do. Let's talk about what makes this camera special. Okay, so I'm not normally one to get terribly excited about camera announcements. I've kind of found just over the years that camera announcements don't really make a big difference in my life. I kind of just end up shooting with what's available to me at the time that I'm shooting, if that's something I own or something I'm trying to borrow. But the Panasonic GH line has kind of caught my eye for two reasons. I ended up shooting the majority of Untethered on a GH4. I hadn't really shot with the GH series camera before that. Always heard people that loved it. And I had a really good experience with it on Untethered. I really loved the battery life, the image quality, and it cut together really well with the interviews that I had shot on the Red. And I kind of started to fall in love with this camera a little bit. And so I ended up actually shooting the Slacklife series on a G7. I had bought this pretty much right before we started shooting. As I realized the A6300 I had bought, yeah, it really would not have worked well for the style of filming. The recording limit, the overheating, the viewfinder completely sucking. It was all big issues with the A6300 for using it as kind of like a workhorse in adventure doc filming. So that has made me kind of really appreciate the GH series of cameras. And when the GH5 was announced, I've been patiently waiting to hear when its actual release date's gonna be. So the A7S Mark II was really the camera that I was looking forward to purchase eventually, but the GH5 is kind of going to take that place. And here are some of the biggest things that I'm looking forward to about it. Stabilized sensor. Stabilized sensor is huge for handheld work, and I'm really, really thankful it's coming to the body of the GH5. So that means you can use lenses that don't have it, or if you use their lenses that do have it, it'll work together and be an even better stabilized image. So that's one of the key things that I'm really excited, because I'm actually really happy with the image I'm able to get out of these cameras, like the G7 and the GH4. Like, to be honest, I'm really happy with that image. There's not much more that I really need out of it to continue to tell my stories. But having that stabilized image is actually going to make a difference in the way that I shoot and allow me to do some more things and allow me to get better results with lenses like this 35mm prime. So stabilized sensor, that's going to be rad. And then close up right behind that is the improved viewfinder. So it's going to have a better viewfinder, which is fantastic because that's pretty much like the entirety of what I shoot my handheld B-roll through. I'm just putting the camera up to my face like that and shooting my footage and being able to better pull focus, get better exposure, all of that through the viewfinder is just amazing news. And then we have the resolution and things like that and the codecs and other things to get excited about. There is one codec that I'm really stoked about, one frame rate, is the 4K 60p mode. That is gonna be incredible. I love shooting in 60p, especially when you're doing like B-roll type footage, and it's going to be amazing being able to do 4K 60p. This is like the first camera in this range that has ever been able to do that. So that's pretty phenomenal. And then the other thing that I'm really excited about is that it can do 10-bit 422 color space in 4K 30 or 24 frames. So that is essentially just a color space where you get a lot more latitude to work with in the footage itself. So that codec is great, and you can push it a lot further in the grade. So I'm really hyped about this camera. If it has anywhere close to as good of a battery life as the Gh4 did, I'm gonna be really, really happy. That's one of the really challenging things about some of the Sony mirrorless cameras is how fastly they burn through their internal batteries. So having great battery, image stabilizing, and with the addition of the XLR module on top, it really does sound like an amazing adventure documentary camera. There's a lot of benefits to having such a lightweight system when you have to hike into these locations. If I could shoot on red, let's be honest, I probably would be. You know, if I had a red system, I would carry that into the mountains. But I'm certainly not going to complain if my camera system ends up being a lot lighter than that. It was really cool to see Luke Newman's work around the launch. I was so thankful to see some real world footage from him down in, it looks like he shot a lot in Oregon and maybe even California. But that's definitely got like the Pacific Northwest vibes that I try to go for in some of my stuff. Luke Newman is a pretty fantastic filmmaker. I've been following him back since his like T2I video days. So yeah, that's mainly it. There's some other things in there like full-size HDMI and some other nice little features that Panasonic's included. It's almost as if Panasonic is trying to listen to filmmakers and what they are asking for. Maybe Canon should take some notes. I'm just saying, Canon, come on, just take some notes, please. I already love the images that I'm seeing. That's kind of like, at the end of the day, it's like the images that are coming out of the camera that I really care about. And then form factor, it's like, what does it actually look like finished in a real world scenario? And then what's it actually like to use? So those are kind of the two most important things. Okay, if I'm not back from my run in an hour, come look for me, okay? Okay. Well, that's kind of it for today. Today was hard actually. It wasn't as effortless as the last 3 days were. Yeah, I tend to operate where I want to do things when I'm like feeling good for it. But the problem with it is I'm just not always feeling good for it. So that means I end up not doing things sometimes. And so I still think it's really helpful to try do the thing even when I'm not feeling up for it. Even if the work doesn't end up being amazing quality, I still think like over the median of results, it's going to be greatly improved by doing more and having more of those days that are challenging, but you do stuff anyways. That X, there's an X. On the 4th day of January, I got to put an X on the calendar because I did what I needed to do today. And so I'm really thankful for that. I'm going to talk more about what I'm actually trying to accomplish each day because it's not just a writing challenge. So yeah, January challenge is going to continue. Every day on that calendar is going to have an X by the end of this month, and I'm looking forward to it. Slack Life trailer is coming very, very soon. If you think I've earned it, I would love to send these videos directly to your inbox the day that I create them, because I release them to YouTube essentially a day later from when I actually send them out to my email list. So if you want to get these videos the day that I send them out and be on the early crew, that would be rad. Yeah, it'd be great to have you along. You could send me an email, let me know what you're working on. I'd love to hear from you. I absolutely love getting emails from people. I read every single one, like usually right when I get it. And I don't always get the time to respond in full, but I love getting emails. So yeah, that's kind of it for today. I'll see you tomorrow. And remember, life's better when you make stuff.